Hey guys, this is Melissa Zad for Into Boxing, and I am delighted to be joined by the man of the hour, Mr. Ben Shalom. How are you doing?
Very well. How are you?
All the better for speaking to you, Ben. It's a rarity, you know. You're very a man in demand.
Elusive.
I like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, we're one night away, one sleep away from a historic moment, the biggest card. You know, as a female in the sport, I would say one of the biggest cards that is ever to grace our screens, grace boxing fans. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, it feels like that. For everyone involved in the sport, certainly, it feels like a massive moment. Never had so many messages just from friends within the sport. Trainers, fighters, amateurs that I used to know back when I started. And that's when, you know, it means a lot to the industry, it means a lot to the sport, it means a lot to the board. 10 years ago, they weren't that interested in women's boxing, and to see it develop like it has, and it's been the combination of so many people, and now we're a day away from the biggest event in women's boxing of all time, with the biggest fight to top it. It's an incredible moment, to be honest.
I mean, you couldn't have said it better than you have, really. It is an incredible card. There's so many 50-50 fights on it. You know, the main event is sizzling. The co-main event, you know, dare I say, it might steal the show because there's some real genuine bad blood there. And then you've got an undercard that is just rife with talent.
Yeah, it's got everything. You rarely get a main event as good as this, especially not on box office these days. And so to have that, and then a chief support that could have headlined any event in the world, the way that is lit, and even the past few weeks, I think it's benefited that fight more than anyone, because that's got the personality and the rivalry now that we've seen develop over a short time in Maya Baumgartner, and then, as you say, the future, the Lauren Prices, the Caroline Dubois, the Shannon Ryans, the Carrie Sartingstals, Ebony Jones, the people and Georgia O'Connor that now can see a dream, now can see a way forward, now can see how, wow, one day I can actually headline a show. That wasn't the case for Savannah when she turned over. She did it for the love of the sport, and perhaps those opportunities weren't there at that time. So definitely a sort of passing of the torch. I think Savannah, Clarissa, that generation will always be known, I think, as the first ones to really break through for everyone. And now we're seeing such talent come through, because it's now a genuine professional career to be a female in professional boxing.
It's a beautiful moment, it really is. I mean, what do you make of the fact that, because obviously you guys, you know, Savannah's your boxer, you're going to back her 100%, but Clarissa's a huge name in the sport. What's the situation like? Because, you know, as someone who's just, you know, part of the media, I don't really understand it, because obviously Clarissa's a huge draw. The fact that you've gotten her over to the UK, you know, what's the negotiation process like with that?
This is the home of women's boxing. This is where the biggest fights happen for women's boxing. This is where there's more interest than anywhere else, and Clarissa recognises that. She's been through so much to even broadcasters wouldn't recognise her. They wouldn't entertain it. She had to battle through so much. She won 2 gold medals and still couldn't get a proper broadcast deal. So that says a lot about where the US was. A lot of development has been made here in the UK. That means she wanted to be here. She came here in February, I think it was, on our card in Cardiff, and she couldn't believe the attention she was getting. It was like, wow, this is where I deserve to be, this is who I deserve to be. It was like she was a superstar even just walking down the streets in Cardiff. She doesn't get that in the US. So it was the obvious place even for her to come and do this fight. Working with Clarissa is crazy, because even growing, like literally 2012, she was 17. She won gold, and I still remember Clarissa Shields. She was always that brash American that almost was an island, because there was no other real stars at the time. Katie Taylor was obviously coming through. So to be here now in probably the biggest fight of her career is crazy. And she's fighting our fighter, Savannah Marshall, that we've seen develop so much over the past 12 months. So yeah, it's just an incredible journey, incredible story. But you know, obviously extremely proud of Savannah and what she's done, but Clarissa, to be promoting her as well, that's special. And then the chief support. So yeah, all in all, I think it's a complete 50-50 fight. I've got huge respect for both of them, and we're going to see them put it on the line and see who the better fighter is, which is what boxing is all about.
Do you know what? Absolutely inspirational words from you, because I can actually feel the passion emanating from you. It's really beautiful to hear. What do you make of comments that Eddie Hearn was sort of stirring the pot earlier today, saying that Clarissa's not signed up to VADA testing? What do you make of those kinds of comments?
No, I spoke about that earlier. I've calmed down now. I think look, they're clearly all tested. They've done VADA testing for the first fight and the second fight, and look, it's not even I don't even want to talk about it. Why we've got such an amazing event here, amazing fights. It's so good for boxing to be able to show this off, to be able to say this is our sport, this is how we've developed. No, boxing isn't in the dark ages anymore. We are developing, we are becoming more diverse and transparent, and we need that as much as people might not always see how necessary that is. It is, because our sport needs to grow, and it needs to be on the biggest channels possible and in the biggest arenas possible. And yeah, it's a special event on Saturday. Of course, they've all been tested, but also we're not focused on that. This is elite championship boxing at the very best, between the very best, and I can't wait for it.
Can I just say, beautiful answer, nicely dodged, and way to promote. Ben, you're doing good. I like it a lot. Look, let's just leave it there, because I think at this point, all we want now is to watch the fights. So I really appreciate your time, Ben. I can't wait for tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Can't wait, and it'll be good to see you tomorrow as well.
I hurt all the girls that I fight, but I will come out victorious.
Clock ticking till I become the undisputed middleweight champion of the world.
This is another moment that my hand will be risen. I've fully prepared myself for a war.